Hi there, and welcome to another episode of Gear Reviews. I'm Andrew, this is Patrick. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Marmot Grid Plus. Let's get it set up. Right, apart from the tent itself and the pegs, this is all that comes with it. You've got your peg bag, your pole bag, and obviously the main bag for the entire tent and all its stuff. This here I quite like. It's for repairing your poles. If you have a crack in the pole, you can slide that straight on over the crack and it'll become rigid again. And then you've got these here for replacing these outside buckles. If they break, you can just tie that back on, sorted. And it gives you every single material in this tent is replaceable with all these spares. It's like a book of spare materials. So you've got mosquito net fly sheet, the outer sheets, and this must be the ground sheet. Also got sticky back patches for immediately repairing stuff like in the field. So you've got one shade of fly sheet, this one here, then the other shade here, as well as if you get a hole in the ground sheet, which is quite likely, sticky back, you stick it straight on, as well as spare buckles for the fly sheet, which we'll show later, and these are spare hooks for the porch, as seen there. Okay, so we're going to talk about the guidelines if you want to come in. The guidelines are all adjustable using these black sliders. They're all yellow and there's 10 of them. They tie on to these canvas reflective points. So they're reflective material here so that you'll be able to see them when you're out about using the head torch. Okay, next we're going to talk about the anchor points. There are 12 anchor points around the tent. They are all adjustable using these buckles, and the reason they are adjustable is because if you can't get your peg in like it is here, what you would do is you'd take the peg out, you would adjust the buckle slightly, and then you'd be able to get in your peg there. The reason they're adjustable is in case there's any rocks under the ground that you can't see. Okay, so we're going to talk about the attention to detail on this tent is great. Marmot has actually decided to put little extra tabs on so that if you're in extremely windy conditions, you can actually go ahead and attach pieces of paracord and make these into anchor points. This is the edge of the door here, but there's also another one down here on the ventilation flap so that you can pin the ventilation flap outwards. It also has reflective material on it there so you can see it again during the night. Okay, so there's a lot of ventilation in this tent as well. There's 4 ports like this. If you come in closer, you can see a lot of attention to detail once again in this tent with a little rod that keeps it like propped open. That's the same on all 4 of the vents. They can also be opened and closed from the inside, which we'll show later. Alright, looking at the doors, they're double zipped. To be honest, we're not quite sure why. This zip just opens it from the top. Possibly just for extra ventilation once again. You see it's velcroed at the bottom and unzips all the way up to here. Then this point here that we talked about being a guy line point is actually, I think its intended purpose, that is to hold the door open. And this is also adjustable, just to properly cinch down on the door. Also here we've got this strap, which also keeps it rigid
because it's under tension and connects like this area of the porch to the rest of the tent. So you're not just relying on the strength of this door or the strength of the zip. Well, I'm not the biggest bloke in the world. I'm about 5'6" but you can still see, like, inside me, it's got a big porch area here. Plenty of space for like putting your boots or your kit in your bags, and also cooking in as well. Even though you're not supposed to cook inside your tent, we don't recommend that. If you come in here, you can see the ventilation from the inside can be opened as well. You can grab the rod, although it is a little bit awkward, you can still put the rod in place as well.
Just quickly wanted to talk about the poles you get with the tent. You get, I think it's 12 of these type, and you also get 2 of the thicker type of tent poles, or pegs, my bad.
Okay, so we're going to talk about the profile of the tent. The profile of the tent is quite low. Obviously you would have this end of the tent facing into the wind. It's a semi-geodesic design, which means that the poles, they crisscross. So it means that the tent is quite rigid and resistant to wind.
Okay, looking at the side profile of the tent, you can see the poles crisscross again, which makes another very strong point in the kind of the structure of the poles. It also crisscrosses on top. As you can see here, this is something, if you're ever setting up this tent by yourself, not sure how clear it is in the video, but the poles just go into like a sort of the tube like terminates, and the pole just stops in this little pocket.
It's a canvas pocket at the end that this pole's meant to be in, but it's actually not at the moment.
Yeah, it can be quite hard to get it into these, but as you can see, they're very strong, reinforced at the end of the poles. So you don't have to have somebody on the other end of the pole like sticking it in place. You just stick it straight in.
This is just a quick overview of the outside of the tent, just a quick walk around. Let me just apologise for the audio in the next piece of footage. We recorded it using a GoPro camera and we forgot to take the camera out of the waterproof enclosure, so the sound is a little bit muffled for that reason.
If you go inside here on the porch, it's the ground sheet. This is what's called like a bathtub style of ground sheet. A lot of tents skimp on weight by making this much lower to the ground and a lot less durable. This has got a durable material. Then at the bottom, the fly sheet or the ground sheet, whichever, is attached by these buckles. It even seems to come with a spare buckle as well. And the sort of the male buckle is in the spare parts bag that we showed you earlier. The same on this side, and then the rest of the fly sheets are whatever you call it, like hook and loop kind of attachments. And do you want to talk about?
Yeah. So obviously it's a two-man tent. So I'm 5'10", and it's you know, there's a good bit of extra, on the feet.
And you're lying on your shades.
I'm lying on my sunglasses, yeah. Two basically.
Anemometer.
There we go. It's affixed to there. You can always put a lamp. It's another one up here you can't see, but it's on the inside. It's attached to it. We've also got inside. Inside we've got 2 pockets. We've also got your warning labels. There's also this bit here, which is a thinner material, and the reasoning for that is because on the outside there's the ventilation, which you can get at from the inside. There's the extra air in. Another thing to talk about inside, the door. The door fixes, you can keep it rolled closed with the buckle there. That's adjustable as well with elastic. I think that's pretty much it for the... one thing which I'm not sure if we mentioned is that, I'm not sure if you can tell in the video, but the tent does get narrower towards the end where your feet go. So your roll mats do end up overlapping. Just make sure you share with someone that is quite organised and doesn't spread their gear around, or else it would get kind of cramped in here. So here's inside the tent. from the inside. You can see just by my feet there that the ground sheet comes up nice and high, give you lots of protection from wind and rain, and any in strong winds, rain can get blown underneath the outer sheet and hit the inside, which is something that a lot of tents struggle with. Got a vent at the back, and obviously these two vents that we showed you earlier, as well as an inner door and a mosquito net door. Just like that.
Just wanted to tell you about the temperatures that we experienced the day we were shooting this video. The ambient temperature outside was 20.4 degrees Celsius. The inside of the tent was a lot hotter. The temperature was 24.1. That was a lot hotter. I wouldn't recommend this tent if you were going to go to a festival in the summer. It's definitely a tent to be used in cold conditions. Even though we had all the vents open, it was still quite stuffy inside. The main use for this tent would definitely be if you're taking it up into the mountains where it's going to be, there's going to be a breeze and it's going to be cold.
So that's it for the review of the Marmot Grid Plus. Just going to give you a few of the details on the tent just before we go. Pack size, weight of the tent. The tent packs down to 58 by 20 centimeters into this bag. The weight of the tent when it's packed in is 3.4 kilos. The external fly sheet is a nylon with a silicon polyurethane coating. The internal fly sheet is a nylon material. The floor ground sheet is a nylon with a polyurethane coating. The hydrostatic head on the ground sheet is 10,000 mm. The hydrostatic head of the outer fly sheet is 5,000 mm. So for the tent, it's a good wee tent. We've used it for some summit attempts on mountains that we have here in Northern Ireland and also in Southern Ireland. Do you have anything you don't like about the tent, Paddy?
Just one thing is the doors can be quite tight. Sometimes it takes two people to get the zip closed, especially if you have this out very top.
Yeah.
But yeah, as you can see now, I'm struggling. But overall, if you want a tent which is very rigid and resistant to wind, the only thing, other tents would be lighter, but they wouldn't be as strong as this, in my opinion. So overall, if you man up and take the weight, you've got quite a nice tent to sleep in.
Right, that's us. Thanks for watching another episode of Gear Reviews. Make sure you subscribe. Cheers.
Bye.
Okay, so we've discovered that this tent actually has a hidden feature that I don't even think the manufacturer realizes they've accidentally incorporated into the tent, and that is that this tent actually has a flagpole holder. So we have here the trusty Union Jack, so it nicely just fits into the flagpole holder there and then goes between the two guidelines. And we kept this on our tent when we took it down into the south of Ireland. And it was still there, even though it was a bit windy, in the next morning, so it was.